Have you ever wondered about the origins of the great prophet Samuel? Our story begins with the heart-wrenching longing of a woman named Hannah. She yearned for a child, her heart heavy with unfulfilled maternal love. But Hannah was not one to sit idle in her sorrow. She took her deep desire to the only place she knew could provide solace and hope: the tabernacle. There, with every fiber of her being, she poured out her heart in prayer, asking God to grant her a son. Hannah's story is a testament to the power of faith and the potency of genuine prayer. Her unwavering belief that God could and would answer her prayer is a profound lesson for us all. And God did answer her prayer in the most extraordinary way. Hannah's fervent prayer set the stage for the birth of Samuel, a pivotal figure in the history of Israel. As Samuel grew, his dedication to God became evident. In the quiet hum of the tabernacle, under the watchful guidance of Eli the priest, young Samuel served. His mother Hannah had made a solemn vow, a promise to the Lord, that her son would be devoted to his service. And so, Samuel was. From an early age, Samuel's heart pulsed with a profound devotion, a devotion that was set apart. It wasn't just about the rituals, the sacrifices, or the daily tasks at the tabernacle. No, it ran deeper than that. It was a sacred connection, a divine thread woven into the fabric of his being. Samuel was not just serving at the tabernacle, he was serving God. His ears were open to the whispers of the divine, his spirit sensitive to the moving of the Almighty. Even at a young age, Samuel's heart was attuned to the voice of God. And this, indeed, was just the beginning of his extraordinary journey. One night, Samuel heard a voice calling his name. He was just a boy, serving in the temple under the watchful care of Eli, the priest. Yet, in the quietude of the sleeping temple, his name echoed through the darkness. Samuel believed it was Eli calling and rushed to his side. But Eli hadn't called him. This happened 3 times, until Eli understood that it was the Lord who was calling the boy. God had chosen Samuel, a humble boy, to reveal his divine plans. That night, the Lord told Samuel of the impending judgment on Eli's household, a consequence of his son's disobedience and disrespect towards God. The weight of this revelation must have been heavy on young Samuel's heart. Yet, he did not shy away from his divine calling. Samuel's obedience was tested that night. When dawn broke, he had a choice: to hide the harsh truth to spare Eli's feelings, or to deliver God's message in its entirety. Samuel chose the latter, showing remarkable courage and reverence for the Lord. He relayed God's message to Eli, who accepted the divine verdict with grace, acknowledging that the Lord was just in his judgments. This pivotal moment marked a turning point in Samuel's life. No longer was he just a boy serving in the temple. He was a prophet, chosen by God to deliver his divine messages. His obedience and reverence for the Lord were commendable, setting a strong foundation for his future role as a prophet and judge of Israel. Samuel's response to God's call demonstrated his obedience and reverence. Even as a child, he understood the importance of delivering God's message with complete honesty and faithfulness. His story teaches us that when God calls, we must listen with open hearts and respond with obedience, no matter how challenging the task may seem. As we journey further into Samuel's life, we'll see how his early interactions with God shaped his leadership and left a lasting impact on the nation of Israel. But for now, let us reflect on the night God spoke to Samuel, forever changing the course of his life and the history of Israel. A tragic turn of events unfolded when the Philistines captured the Ark of the Covenant. Such words echo through the annals of biblical history, painting a vivid picture of a time when the sacred was desecrated and the profane dared to touch the divine. The Philistines, emboldened by their might, seized the Ark of the Covenant from Israel. They believed that by capturing this sacred chest, they could harness the power of the God of Israel. But, oh, how they were mistaken. The ark was not merely a symbol. It was a testament to the living presence of God, a sacred space where the divine and the earthly met. And so, it wasn't victory that the Philistines found. It was calamity. Plague swept through their cities, and panic gripped their hearts. The ark became a burden, not a blessing. It was a stark reminder that God's presence is holy and cannot be manipulated for one's own ends. Desperate to rid themselves of the misfortune, the Philistines devised a plan to return the ark. They placed it on a cart, drawn by 2 cows, and sent it back to Israel. As the cart trundled its way back, it became a symbol of divine judgment and mercy, a testament to the sacredness of God's presence. And then, with the return of the ark, Israel rejoiced. It was more than the return of a sacred object. It was a reaffirmation of God's presence among His people. The Israelites could once again feel the palpable presence of their God, a presence that had seemed lost when the ark was taken. The return of the ark symbolized God's faithfulness and His enduring covenant with His chosen ones. It was a reminder that even in the face of defeat, God remains faithful. His promises endure, and His covenant is unbreakable. And so, as we reflect on the capture and return of the ark, let us remember the sacredness of God's presence. Let's remember that His faithfulness endures, and His covenant remains steadfast. Because even when we falter, God remains faithful. And that, dear friends, is truth worth holding on to. At Mizpah, Samuel issued a call to repentance and renewal. Here, in the heart of Israel, Samuel, a prophet, judge, and leader, urged the people to turn away from their sins and renew their commitment to God. Samuel's call was a beacon of hope amidst the darkness of spiritual decline. He spoke with a fervor that echoed the ancient prophets and a wisdom that transcended his years. His words were not just an admonishment, but a call to action. He urged the Israelites to put away their foreign gods and direct their hearts towards the Lord. He called for a return to the core values of their faith: obedience, love, and reverence for God. This was a pivotal moment in the history of Israel. It was a call to repentance, a call to renewal, a call to awakening. Samuel's leadership was instrumental in this spiritual revival. His wisdom and faith guided the people, inspiring them to return to the Lord. His words echoed through the hills of Mizpah, resonating with the hearts of the people, stirring in them a deep desire to reconnect with their God. This call to repentance was not just about acknowledging past mistakes or expressing regret. It was about making a conscious decision to change, to improve, to become better. It was about turning away from the path of disobedience and walking towards the path of righteousness. It was about renewing their commitment to the Lord and seeking His guidance in every aspect of their lives. Samuel's call was met with a wave of repentance. The people of Israel responded to his call. They confessed their sins and committed themselves to serve the Lord. A spiritual awakening swept across the land. A renewed sense of faith and devotion was kindled in the hearts of the people. This spiritual revival led to the deliverance of Israel from the oppression of the Philistines. It was a testament to the transformative power of repentance and faith. It was a testament to the leadership of Samuel, a man who devoted his life to serving God and leading His people. Samuel's call to repentance and revival led to the deliverance of Israel from the oppression of the Philistines. It was a pivotal moment in the history of Israel, a moment of renewal, repentance, and restoration. As a leader, Samuel erected a stone as a reminder of God's help. This stone, named Ebenezer, stood tall and firm, a physical manifestation of God's unwavering support and protection for His people. It was more than a mere marker. It was a testament to the countless times God had delivered Israel from the hands of their enemies. The Ebenezer stone served as a constant, tangible reminder of God's faithfulness. Each time the Israelites passed by, they would see this stone and remember how God had helped them, how He had been their rock and refuge in times of trouble. The stone was a symbol of God's provision and protection, a beacon of hope that reminded the Israelites that God was with them, that He was for them, and that He would never abandon them. This stone was not just a piece of history, it was a part of their identity, a cornerstone of their faith. It was a statement of gratitude, a declaration of trust, and a pledge of loyalty to God. It was a public display of faith, a way of saying, "We remember, we believe, we trust." The Ebenezer stone was not only for the Israelites of Samuel's time, it was also for the generations to come, a legacy of faith to be passed down. It was a story to be told, a story of God's faithfulness and love, a story that would inspire faith and courage in the hearts of those who heard it. It was a reminder that God was always there, always watching, always caring, always providing, always protecting. It was a reminder that no matter how difficult the circumstances, no matter how insurmountable the odds, God was greater, God was stronger, God was able. And just like Samuel, we too can acknowledge and commemorate God's faithfulness in our lives. We can set up our own Ebenezer stones, whether they be physical markers or mental reminders, to help us remember God's faithfulness. We can share our stories of God's goodness and mercy, passing them down to the next generation, just as Samuel did. Because when we remember God's faithfulness, we are reminded of His love, His power, and His promises. And that gives us hope, peace, and courage to face whatever comes our way.